Welcome back, everybody, to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Today we will go over the next event for January 20th, UFC 297, Strickland versus DuPlessis. Going to be held in the beautiful city of Toronto, Canada. In our backyard. Well, if you had a backyard that stretched, 6,000 kilometers, or whatever, 3,000 kilometers. So, nevertheless, let's get this started. Like usual, we will go over the fights from the first fight to the main event. So, let's start. First fight of the night. Malcolm Gordon versus Jimmy Flick. Malcolm Gordon, 5'7", 71-inch reach, 14 wins, 7 losses. 33 years old. Jimmy Flick, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 16 wins, 7 losses, 33 years old. Same age. These guys are both 33 years old, and these guys are both pretty much at the end of their career and have got a lot of damage on them and are pretty much worn out at the bottom end of the UFC roster for their weight division. They're pretty much ready to retire. I think whoever loses this will probably just be cut. I'm looking between these two guys. I mean, Malcolm Gordon's going to have a striking advantage. I always thought Malcolm Gordon was a little taller. Jimmy Flick, I think that he only had one fight against Durden that he looked sensational in. He's got these great ground skills. With submissions, but he's got to get you there. He has a hard time getting people to there. He doesn't have great striking, and as of late, he doesn't even look like he can take shots very well. This fight is fairly easy for me, apart from some crazy submission from Jimmy Flick. Gordon should have him beat everywhere, and Gordon is a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner as well. I think Flick will have a very hard time getting Gordon in those submissions. I think Gordon has really good defense. I mean, he fought Makayev, and he fought him well, considering he came in, I think, as a huge underdog, and he gave him a pretty good run for his money. I don't know. I just think he's much more talented fighter. I think he's got a lot left in him. I think he has more left in him than Jimmy Flick. I think Jimmy Flick retired once he came back. I think he's just coming back for a few paychecks. I don't think he's really going to be grinding this one out with glee kind of thing. I think he just, looking to get a paycheck. He's going to do his best, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. This event is held in Canada. Gordon is a Canadian. I mean, they definitely are. I mean, who else is Gordon going to fight that he can beat? Jimmy Flick. So, this is almost set up for him to win. So, Gordon's going to be the pick. A fairly high degree of confidence. Moving on, Jasmine Jasudavicius. Man, that's such a long name. Jasudavicius versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Jasudavicius, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 9 wins, 3 losses, 34 years old. Priscilla Cachoeira, 5'7", 65-inch reach, 12 wins, 5 losses, 35 years old. I have been notorious for fading Jasudavicius, and it's overall, that's cost me money. So, nevertheless, you know what? She has made some big improvements. Her striking's improved. She's got some okay takedowns. She seems to have pretty good top control. She's very heavy on top. I don't think she's a super submission threat, but she's 34 years. She's still in her prime. She's fighting Cachoeira, who is known not to have any ground skills. Once she gets taken to the ground, she has a really hard time getting back up. She can be controlled on the ground and ground and pounded. She's 35 years old. She's still in her prime. I don't think she's really worn out, but she does have huge power. So her chance to victory is just basically knocking out Jasudavicius. And there's people that she's fought that I didn't think she would knock out. For example, like, what's her name? Lipski, where she ended up TKOing Lipski, and I just didn't think it was going to happen. But sure enough, Lipski got caught and just got KO'd because she stood in front of her. Jasudavicius is probably a little more durable than Lipski. I think she could take a little more punishment, but she just definitely can't stand it. But Jazz Davikius comes from a pretty good camp. They're pretty smart. They're gonna know. Don't stand in front of Cachoeira. You got to take it to the ground, and it's going to be an easy victory. Well, not an easy victory, but it's going to be a definite victory, a more confident victory, a path to victory, right? So Jazz Davikius does have the ability to take it to the ground. Cachoeira, don't underestimate her. She can catch you coming in. She is going to come at you and swing in hard. Apart from some kind of disaster happening, Jazz Davikius should win this fight. They've set this up for her, for somebody that she could grab a hold of, take her to the ground and lie on top of her and win 3 rounds. That's the way this is going to go. So Jasmine Jasudavicius, this is going to be a fairly easy breakdown for some of these fights, I mean, this is a Canadian card. You can go, okay, the UFC want Canadians to win, yes, but are they going to win? Pretty much, I think they're setting it up for them to win. Whether they've got a worse enough opponent to do that with is a different story. But you never know, and somebody can have a really good night, somebody can have an off night. But overall, Jazz Davikius does have a clear path to victory, taking Cachoeira to the ground and grinding on her for 3 rounds. Jazz Davikius is going to be the pick. Moving on. Johan Leonis versus Sam Patterson. Johan Leonis, 6'1", 76-inch reach, 9 wins, 2 losses, 31 years old. Sam Patterson, 6'3", 78-inch reach, 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 27 years old. Leonis, I had lost money. Actually, no. Did I bet against him? Anyways, yeah, I did bet against him. He actually almost upset me. I think it was Gabe Green. Anyways, he came back out in the first round just throwing bombs and hurting Gabe Green. I believe it was him. And I thought, oh man, did I underestimate this guy's power? And then he came out in the second round and Leonis was just spent. He had no more gas left, and then, Gabe Green took over the fight, and I think he took him out in the second round. And this guy, I thought he was slow. He's kind of lethargic, but when he would connect, it would severely impact Gabe Green. And this guy's got a lot of power. And the next fight, I bet against him. And yeah, because his cardio is a big question mark, and he just looked like he fell off a cliff. So they got this guy with a lot of power who's really good in the first round. So what do? Sam Patterson was fighting in, I think, the lightweight division. Excuse me. I think he moved up to the welterweights. It's welter, right? Was it welter? Is it? Yeah, welterweight. So now, he's 6'3". He's going to have 2-inch reach advantage. It's not a huge height advantage, and reach advantage is going to be 2 inches. It's not huge. He was hugely bigger, like a lot bigger than most of the 155ers. But he was really slim, and he looked like he had some talent on the ground. But the guy who knocked him out last time, Mayush or something like that, he was a new guy coming to the UFC. I had bet on Sam Patterson. I thought this other guy, hasn't beat anyone substantial. He didn't look that great on the regional scene. He fought a bunch of people that weren't that good, and Sam Patterson goes in there and gets himself knocked out. So, and I realized, oh man, this Sam Patterson, he's definitely, got a problem with his chin. And maybe it was the weight cut. Maybe he's going to do better at 170. I don't know. But if he's getting caught by that other guy, and I think Yamush or something, an Israeli guy, Leonis, if he touches him, Leonis is going to knock him out, like straight up. So I think they're putting somebody that's very knockoutable in front of Leonis, and I hope he's worked on his cardio in case he does knock him out in the first round. Yeah, I don't want to bet on Patterson again, that's for sure. After what he did last time, he just looked terrible. And yeah, he got KO'd so bad. He was trying to fight the ref afterwards. It was in the corner was trying to calm him down. The guy thought he was in another plane. or another dimension. So, nevertheless, Lynn is going to be the pick. He's got a lot of power. Patterson has shown that he can't take a big power shot. That's what Leonis throws, and he's going to be having the advantage of being up a weight class and possibly absorbing more punishment, but he's also going to be around guys that he's not used to because he's normally a lot bigger, a lot longer reach, and Leonis is somewhat similar in size, and he's a big 170. So he's got a lot of power. He's going to be a big 170. He's going to be a lot stronger than Patterson. So nevertheless, I think Leonis this is his fight to lose. I don't think Patterson's that good. And yeah, I think Leonis is going to be the winner. He's from Canada. So here we go. 3 Canadians in a row so far. Let's see how this works out. Moving on. Jillian Robertson versus Polyana Viana. Jillian Robertson, 5'5", 63-inch reach, 12 wins, 8 losses, 28 years old. Polyana Viana, 5'5", 67-inch reach, 13 wins, 6 losses, 31 years old. Both of them are in their prime of their career. Jillian Robertson's got a ton of experience. She's grew up in the UFC. She's not a good striker. She's great on the ground. She has been submitted, but most of the time she's the one on top, ground and pounding and submitting people. But she has gotten caught before. Her striking has improved. She looks like the kind of person that will just never be comfortable with striking. She's okay at striking, but she has moved down to the flyweights. And she was at bantam. So now she's no longer the smaller girl. She's actually the bigger girl. And Vienna's normally the taller girl in this weight division, and they say they're both the same height. I have a feeling Vienna might be an inch taller, but she definitely got like a 4-inch reach advantage. Vienna is just the much bigger girl at this weight class. So Robertson moving down, she is now one of the bigger girls at this weight class. So Robertson, not a good striker. Polyana Viana, she's very stiff. She doesn't move a lot, but she's got a very powerful striker. So and she can take a shot too. So she's very durable and she can strike. She'll still stand there in the pocket. She'll throw. You'll throw her. She'll throw back. And her striking has improved. Her power, especially. There's only one path to victory as I see for Vienna, and that is to hurt Robertson. If Robertson can't take Vienna down to the ground, she's going to lose the striking battle straight up. She's a huge favorite, Jillian Robertson, but I tell you what, this is my least confident pick. I'm going to go with Robertson, but Vienna can give her problems on the feet, and if Vienna can keep her standing and Robertson having a hard time closing the distance to get the takedown, this is going to be not a good looking fight for Robertson. Maybe she'll be able to grind it out, but it won't look good because she'll be coming in, she'll be taking damage. I don't think she'll be returning the same amount of damage. She can possibly take Vienna down. Vienna doesn't have great takedown defense, but she's a great BJJ practitioner. So when she's on the ground, she's very dangerous off her back. Lots of submissions. She's very long and lanky, so she's tricky on the ground, and she's submitted some pretty good BJJ. She has been submitted as well. So if Robertson does take her down, she's got to be very careful. She can be on top. She can ground and pound. She just got to be very careful with Vienna and her submission skills. I think she can avoid the submissions. I think Robertson is good enough to avoid it. I think the people that have submitted her before have had a size advantage on Robertson. I think they're going to be very similar in size and strength. So I think Robertson will be able to control her on top and win and grind out a decision victory against Vienna. But she's got to be able to close the distance without taking a lot of damage. Because once they get on the ground, I think it'll be fairly close. I think Robertson will be able to grind it out. But on the feet, there'll be that start of every round where if Robertson doesn't want to be on the feet, exchanging with Vienna, she has simple 1-2s. Vienna does, but they're very powerful. So she's strong. Nevertheless, Robertson's going to be the pick. It's going to be a really close fight. Moving on. Siri City versus Ramon Taveras. Siri City, 5'11", 72-inch reach, 10 wins, 1 loss, 27 years old. Ramon Taveras, 5'8", 70-inch reach, 9 wins, 2 losses, 29 years old. new guys to the UFC. They fought once before in the Contender Series, Dana White's Contender Series. So and City knocked out Tavares. You know what? When I first watched that fight, I was betting on City. City had actually he's not only the taller fighter, longer reach. He's fought the much better opponents. Like if you ever look at Ramon Tavares' records, the guys he fought, don't have huge winning records. Like I mean, they just don't look that good. But they keep talking this guy up, especially Dana White. Like they keep talking this guy up. Like I don't see it. Like I mean, they want him to win. But looking at his record, like and the guys he's fought in particular, they're not really good competition. Like his record looks good, but I don't think the guys he fought are that good. But you look at City, his record looks good, and the guys he fought have been pretty good. Like in the Canadian scene, right? Like, and the guys he fought are pretty talented and well-rounded, and they gave him a run for his money. I mean, you could say that maybe they weren't as talented, and then if they gave him a run for his money, he's not that good. All that, but in the fight. Watching the fight, I wanted to bet Tavares, because he's this big power puncher. But when their first fight, Tavares landed, like City wasn't really throwing that much or that well, and Tavares was aggressive, and Tavares landed a few, like 4 or 5 straight shots, and about 3 or 4 of them were really strong, powerful punches. And I think he's a lefty. I think they were lefts. So Tavares landed on City. City didn't avoid the shots, but City ate those shots, which worries me because Tavares is the power puncher, and maybe he just didn't land the right one. So Tavares was touching City 100%, but when City, the first good combination City returned in the pocket, floor Tavares. I'm questioning Tavares' chin, straight up. When City can land the first combination, the first decent combination, and knocks you on the ground, the fight was stopped prematurely. This is a rematch because Tavares was still not out of it. But I mean, to me, if Tavares is on the ground and City's about to go on top of you, I mean, City's a much better ground guy. So it would have been over, or at least he would have dominated that round anyway. But Tavares is dangerous and he is live. City does take a few shots. Tavares proved that he can touch him. I'm questioning Tavares' chin. I'm not saying that he's going to get KO'd, but he can get knocked down, obviously. I mean, I got to go with City. I was looking for a reason to take Tavares, don't get me wrong, because he's a power puncher. He was landing and touching City up, but City looked like he absorbed the punches pretty good. He is the Canadian guy. Regardless of that, I think City, I mean, I gotta go with City. I don't like the way Tavares reacted to the punches that were landed. So yeah, City's going to be the pick. Fairly good degree of confidence. Moving on. Charles Jourdain versus Sean Woodson. Charles Jourdain, 5'9", 69-inch reach, 15 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, 28 years old. Sean Woodson, 6'2", 78-inch reach, 10 wins, 1 loss, 31 years old. Both of them are in their prime. Woodson, by far the taller guy. He's the tallest guy in this division, I think. 5 inches taller. He's got 9-inch reach advantage. They're both in their prime. Charles Jourdain, he's a tough guy. He's going to have a little bit of a hard time closing the gap. Sean Woodson's a really good boxer. He's got to close the distance, but Charles Jourdain is explosive. He's pretty good on the ground. Sean Woodson, lately you've seen him do a lot more grappling. And, he's not going to do grappling against Jourdain. That'd be just stupid because I think that Jourdain's the much better grappler. Sean Woodson's got to keep this on the feet. If they go on the ground, Sean Woodson, even if he takes them on the ground, can get reversed. Jourdain's a much more dangerous guy on the ground. I bet on Sean Woodson the last time, and he was a high degree of confidence. And somebody had sent me a message saying, "How can you put Sean Woodson in such like a high degree of confidence?" And what I said was, well, I know how good Sean Woodson is, and I know the other guy is really bad. So it's not that I really have confidence in Sean Woodson as much as the competition really sucked. And it was against Bazooka. I said, there's no way Bazooka's going to beat Sean Woodson. Like, this guy I didn't think he was good at all. And this is why I'm picking Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain is very good, but I know Sean Woodson is not as good as Charles Jourdain. I don't think Woodson can take the shots that Charles Jourdain is going to deliver. I think Charles Jourdain can hurt Woodson. Woodson can hurt Charles Jourdain, but it'll be definitely more of a technical striking that'll hurt him with the length and, kind of like the long jab. I think he can stun Jourdain, but not so much hurt him. Where I think if Jourdain lands on Woodson, I think he can hurt him really bad. So it's going to be a tough fight just because he's got to, get into that distance. But, Sean Woodson, he's got those thick legs. He's going to be susceptible to leg kicks. Charles Jourdain is an explosive guy. I don't know. I like his chances in this fight. And I think they've set this fight up for him to win. So he's going to be able to out-muscle Woodson. Woodson's going to have leverage because of his height, but Charles Jourdain's going to definitely be the pick. He really impressed me with his last fight against Ramos. And I bet against Charles Jourdain. I was so surprised that he actually submitted Ramos. Like, I thought it was going to be the other way around. He's been impressing me with some of his performances. Yeah, I think that he's going to be in front of the Canadian crowd and he's going to bring it to Sean Woodson. I think he's going to break Sean Woodson and take him out. I don't think it's going to be a decision. So Jourdain's going to be the pick on that one. Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Chris Curtis, 5'10", 75.5-inch reach, 30 wins, 10 losses, 36 years old. Marc-Andre Barriault, 6'1", 74-inch reach, 16 wins, 6 losses, 33 years old. Chris Curtis, he's at his peak. If anything, he's going to be slipping from now on. Marc-Andre Barriault, he's at his peak. I don't think he's in danger of slipping. Both of them are very durable. Both of them are very tough. Both of them have got really good cardio. Marc-Andre Barriault is known as the power bar. So this guy has got fantastic cardio. Yes, he does. He can keep pushing the pace, and that's how he breaks people, is he pushes the pace and he doesn't stop. Who does he remind me of? Van, the last event, Van. He kept pushing the pace and eventually broke the guy I picked to win. But so yeah, that's what he reminds me of. But here's the thing: he's got a 3-inch height advantage. He's at a deficit for his reach advantage. Okay, I don't know if they're measuring it properly, but if it is, that means they're roughly about the same. He's got 3 inches in height, 1 inch in reach. You got to punch up. I mean, it's fairly close with how they're going to be able to reach each other. Marc-Andre Barriault, I don't know. I don't think he's got a high ceiling. I think he's a great mid-range fighter, and I thought he has fought a lot of mid-range fighters, and he's done okay, pretty good. He's gotten knocked out once, I think, against a decent guy, and then the other guys are mid-range fighters, and he's won and he's grinded it out. Chris Curtis, he's fought, the upper range of fighters, and he's done okay. He's never been blown out of anything, and he does have really good boxing skills, good defensive skills, good, he's got that peekaboo defense, whatever, that Philly shell he uses. And he's a hard guy to beat. So, and he conserves energy really well. Marc-Andre is going to keep coming at him. Last time Chris Curtis fought, he fought against the Russian French guy. What's his name? Medvedev or something. What's his name? Can't remember his name. Anyways, it's the French guy he's a Russian French guy. He's Russian, but he's from France. Anyways, I bet against him, and I bet on Chris Curtis, and Chris Curtis was getting destroyed by that guy, and it's bothering me that I can't remember where it is. What's his name? Let me just look it up. Chris Curtis. Let's see his last fight. Okay, let's go. Imavov. Nazardine Imavov. And Nazardine Imavov, I gotta admit, I saw him in the previous fights, and I thought Chris Curtis was going to be able to outbox this guy because I've seen Imavov continually stand in front of somebody or try to take people down, and he didn't seem really successful. And I think Chris Curtis had great takedown defense, and I think on the feet he was going to have an advantage. And Imavov, to his credit, looked really fast and really sharp, and he had a great game. And his game plan was kicking the crap out of Curtis, and he had this long straight kick straight for Curtis's midsection because Curtis has such a high guard. He was just kicking him in the body, kicking him in the body, kicking him in the body, kicking him in the leg. It was really effective. It really affected Chris Curtis. He was dominating that fight. And he even took Chris Curtis down, which is a guy who hasn't been taken down until that point. His takedown defense has been 100%. And I think it's got a lot to do with him softening him up with all those kicks and then, taking him down when he's kind of thinking about defending. So he took Chris Curtis down anyways. He ended up, cutting Chris Curtis's eye, and the fight had to be stopped, right? It's a no contest. But Chris Curtis was getting dominated. And Marc-Andre Barriault likes to kick, and he could do the same thing. He's longer, he's taller, he could keep kicking Chris Curtis. But the difference was, and the difference has been even for other guys to do that, is they've got to be fast enough. Imavov was very fast with his kicks. They were coming out so quick, like a jab. They were out and back in, out and back in. And Chris Curtis didn't know what hit him because his hands are high. He can't even see them coming. And he would just be taking these kicks. And Marc-Andre Barriault does not have that speed. And if he was like Imavov and that quick with his kicks, I would say he has a path to victory against Chris Curtis. So he's a Canadian, but this is the one fight that I'm not going to pick the Canadian guy. I think Chris Curtis has got something to prove. I don't think Marc Barriault has got the talent of an Imavov. I don't think he's at that level for striking. I think he's very crude. I don't think he's very crisp. I think he's got some decent striking. I don't think he's very crisp. And Chris Curtis, if anything, he's very crisp. And he's a great counter striker. Both of them are counter strikers. But Chris Curtis is going to stand in the middle, and Marc-Andre is going to try push him back, and he's going to counter strike him. And I think Chris Curtis has got the better hands. I think he's going to be able to land on Marc Barriault. I think that Marc Barriault is going to try wear Chris Curtis down, and he's probably going to go for a few takedowns, and Chris Curtis is going to have to fight this like a lot of takedowns off. I don't think Barriault's got the talent to take him down. I think there's some recency bias with the last time Imavov took him down. I think this fight is not as close as we think it is. Well, it's close because Andre Barriault's got a huge gas tank and keep coming at you and not tire. But Chris Curtis is going to be the much more talented striker, and he's dangerous for a knockout, and he's live for a knockout here as well, because his counter striking is really impressive. And I think if Marc-Andre Barriault is not careful, he's going to be attacking Chris Curtis, trying to wear him down, and Chris Curtis is going to counter strike him and knock him out. So I just think that this is a step up in competition for Barriault. I think Curtis is not done. I think that he's still got a lot left. And I think in this fight, he's going to be able to land on Barriault and possibly KO him. If not, it's going to be a close decision. But counting on Chris Curtis to pull this off, he's the one guy I'm betting against the Canadian guy. So, yeah. Let's see. He is the favorite. He's the minus... He was like minus 160, now he's minus one. Yeah, so there's some bets. People are coming on to bet on him. I don't think he's overhyped, overrated. I think Marc Barriault is going to lose this fight. So, yeah, let's move on. Brad Katona versus Garrett Armfield. Brad Katona, 5'6", 64.5-inch reach, 15 wins, 2 losses, 32 years old. Garrett Armfield, 5'6", 70-inch reach, 9 wins, 3 losses, 27 years old. You know what? I don't like this Brad Katona guy. He's the Canadian guy, by the way, but he fights out of Ireland. Um, so he's a traitor. So just kidding. So anyway, so he's 5'6". He's the same height. He's got really stubby arms. But you know what? This guy's just got an amazing gas tank. He's got a great chin. He can absorb a lot of punishment, and he's very smart. He knows when to strike, when to take you down, when to grind on you. He's very cerebral. He's very methodical, and yeah, and his body holds up to the punishment, and he's able to reverse positions, take you down, and he'll even if he fails the first time, he'll keep coming at you, keep trying. You know, the guy, actually, I bet against him, and I almost won. The other guy was a huge underdog, and it was in the Contender Series, the Ultimate Fighter finale, and the guy I bet on won the first round. I thought he was close on the second round, and then he got dominated on the third round. And Katona just kept putting it on him, kept putting it on him. But I was impressed with how well he did with the striking, because I really thought the other guy was a lot better in striking. But you know, he didn't quit. He absorbed the punishment, and he's very effective. He's got short arms. He's got a short reach, but he does lunge in, and he's very effective with that. He's got to be careful with Armfield because he is a great striker. I think he's pretty good on the ground, but I think he's definitely, I mean, he KO'd the last guy he was fighting. He seems very game. He seems very durable. But again, Garfield has not really fought anybody. Even the last guy he fought in the UFC, which was I think the Japanese guy. He's not really credentialed. He wasn't like some kind of really Kazama, I think was his name is. He wasn't some sensational guy. And so he really hasn't faced any really huge, like UFC level fighters. But he is dangerous. You know, he's got a lot of heart. He's a real grinder. He doesn't quit. Can take a lot of punishment. He's decent on the ground. And this is going to be a real grind, this fight. And it's going to be close, and it's going to be a grind. But I got to go with Katona on this one. I think he's fought the way better competition. He's grinded out way better guys. Not that Garfield's not a decent fighter. I just think he's just got the experience with it. And Armfield's got a puncher's chance, but I think Katona can take it. And as long as Katona doesn't lose any rounds because of some big punches, I think Katona's going to win this fight in a close decision. That's the pick, Katona. Another Canadian guy / Irish guy now. Moving on to the main card. Oh yeah, there's a Reyes Alberg fight got canceled. That's too bad. That would have been an interesting one. Arnold Allen versus Movsar Evloev. Arnold Allen, 5'8", 70-inch reach, 19 wins, 2 losses, 29 years old. Movsar Evloev, 5'7", 72.5-inch reach, 17 wins, 29 years old. This is gonna be a great fight. You know, I watched Arnold Allen. He's got great takedown defense. He's normally, is he the bigger guy on a lot of the fights? He's usually longer. I'm surprised that Movsar's only 1 inch shorter. You know, Arnold Allen just looks a lot taller. Arnold Allen's got great strikes. He's got good takedown defense. And part of his takedown defense is his uppercuts. He's always throwing these uppercuts. You go for a takedown, he's either kneeing you or he's throwing this uppercut. He's always throwing these uppercuts, and it seems they're very effective. And he lands them a lot. So especially against a guy who wants to take you down, those uppercuts are going to really come in well for him. And he's very powerful. And he fought, what's his name? I keep wanting to say Mayweather. But yeah, what's his name? What's his name? Blessed. What's his? I know their handles, but I don't know their. I don't know them. Come on, man. What's his? Got it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna look at it. All right, let's do this. Max Holloway. God. He fought Max Holloway. I mean, it was a pretty good fight. Max Holloway did win the fight. It was clearly landed way better strikes. But, you know, there was a couple of, you know, Arnold Allen took all of it. Arnold Allen fought hard. You know, he was most dangerous in the fifth round. So he's got great cardio. Um, yeah, I think he's got good takedown defense. But I think he has been taken down before, and he's had problems with really good wrestlers. And I think this is the best wrestler he's ever going to face, or one of the best he's ever going to face. Definitely the best he's faced until now. I think Evloev's got, you know, his striking's a little underrated. It's pretty effective. Maybe it's because everyone's always scared of him going for the takedown. His striking is very effective. Arnold Allen has great striking, so he's had experience. So he's going to be throwing those uppercuts. He's going to be very dangerous. Evloev is going to be able to take him down. When he takes you down, you know, he doesn't. Sometimes he tries to shoot, you get back up, but he'll keep doing this chain wrestling. He'll try over and over again. He's got great cardio. Allen's got pretty good cardio as well. I think it's going to be an interesting fight, but I think Evloev has got pretty good striking, enough to strike with Allen, even if he doesn't get those takedowns. And I think he will be able to take Allen down quite a few times. Allen's going to keep getting back up, and he's going to really grind on him. I'm going to go with Evloev, even though I was looking for a reason to pick Allen, where if Allen could stuff the takedowns and threaten with those uppercuts and forcing Evloev to stay on the feet, he's got a path to victory. But Evloev's not a slouch with his striking either, and he can land, and he's fairly powerful, and he can definitely take a shot. He's been cracked hard. The guy's got a solid chin. So I think, and there was a rumor, and I think from Evloev, he was trying to set up this fight with Allen like about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and he's always said that Arnold Allen was ducking him, and next time when he does fight him, he's gonna, what did he say? I'm gonna finish him. So to his words. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think Evloev always fights in these close fights, but it's kind of a grinding, take you down kind of fight that he fights. But he has been winning, and he's undefeated. So I'm going to go with the undefeated guy. Allen just finished tasting defeat against a striker. I think Evloev's not a bad striker. I think he's a great wrestler. I just got to go with him on this one, you know. There is definitely going to be a close fight. I mean, Arnold Allen has a chance. If he can stay on the feet and win the first round, then it's going to be up in the air, because he might be able to win one of the next 2 rounds with some decent, significant strikes and be able to steal it. Because it's not a 5-rounder. If it's a 5-rounder, I would say Evloev for sure. But in a 3-round fight, it's going to be really close. So Evloev is going to be the pick. Low degree of confidence. Moving on, Neil Magny versus Mike Malott. Neil Magny, 6'3", 80-inch reach, 28 wins, 12 losses, 36 years old. Mike Malott, 6'1", 73-inch reach, 10 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 32 years old. You know, when I first saw Mike Malott, I wasn't that impressed. And when he first came onto the scene, and you know, I wasn't like, yeah, is this guy really that good? Or just he didn't fight that good of competition. You know, now he's 32 years old. And Neil Magny, on the other hand, I've bet on Neil Magny quite a few times. And he's always, you know, he's been the underdog, and there's these new up-and-comers that come to Neil Magny, and then they lose because he's such a hard guy to fight. He's 36 years old. I definitely have seen him slow down. His durability is not the same. So it's not quite Neil Magny that we think it is. But at 6'3", he's the tallest guy, one of the tallest guys, and 80-inch reach. I don't think anyone's got a longer reach than him. He's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage. Neil Magny, long, and no matter, everybody who fights him always ends up clinching him and fighting him in the clinch against the fence. And I think it's got a lot to do with the fact he's got an 80-inch reach, and he's got a long jab, and he keeps touching him, and these guys panic and they clinch. And then when they clinch, they realize how good he is in the clinch, because he's tall, he's lanky, he's strong, and he just grinds these clinch position and he's continually landing shots. He's very good with his shot count, where he knows you're landing, and he's going to make sure he's landing continually. And before you know it, within a minute, all of a sudden he's up like 20 strikes, and you've only hit him 3 times up against the fence because you're busy wrestling. But he's not only wrestling, he's making sure he's landing shots. Now it might not be powerful shots, but he's outstriking you. So he's winning those rounds because he's very smart about that. I wanted to pick Neil Magny. Mike Malott was a huge underdog. Huge favorite. Neil Magny's a huge underdog. But I kept thinking, man, why are they giving Magny to Malott in Canada if they didn't want Malott, who's the top Canadian prospect, to win? And looking at Mike Malott's last fights, he can definitely get hit. He doesn't have great striking defense, but the more I looked at him, I mean, this guy's really strong. Like, he's very powerful. Like, when he sets his mind to taking you down or even striking with you, you're hitting him, he's hitting you back harder. You get on the ground, he's throwing you on the ground, and he's getting on top of you, and he's getting into his positions by out-muscling you. I mean, he's technical, don't get me wrong, but he just seems very powerful. And I think Neil Magny is more technical than powerful. Even though he's strong, Malott seems very powerful. So I think he's going to destroy Magny. I think he's going to ragdoll Magny. Like, I really do. I think there's going to be a few moments where, Magny's going to be on the ground, keeping him away, 80-inch reach and this and that. But once they get into that clinch position, I think it's Malott's game. He's going to ragdoll this guy. Just from the strength advantage that he has, I think he's going to submit Magny. Yeah, so I don't know. Magny's not on top of his game. He doesn't look the same. He hasn't been taking damage the same. Very, damage averse at this point. So I think he's at the tail end of his career, and he's got a decent ranking where Malott can move up and beat a name, right? And that everyone knows, and put himself up into the mid-range for that, what's that? Are they welterweights? Yeah, welterweight. So Mike Malott is going to be the pick. He should be able to dominate this fight. I got a high degree of confidence on Mike Malott winning this. I mean, Neil Magny's not this knockout artist. Neil Magny's path to victory is simple. He'll get you up against the fence and grind out these decisions. I don't think he'll be able to do that here. So the guy's too strong. And then the 80-inch reach advantage, well, that's disappeared if that happens. Okay, moving on. So, Raquel Pennington, co-main event. Raquel Pennington versus Mayra Bueno Silva. Raquel Pennington, 5'7", 67.5-inch reach, 15 wins, 9 losses, 35 years old. Maria Bueno Silva, 5'6", 66.5-inch reach, 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 32 years old. Whoa, this one's going to be a close fight. I watched Raquel Pennington. I watched her old fights. She's 35. I think she's at the peak of her fighting ability. I don't think she's going to get any better. I think she's only going to get worse. This is her last chance to win this belt. She's a very good boxer. She's a grinder. She's intelligent. She's got a lot of experience. She's got good takedown defense. She's won with submissions. She knows how to submit people. I mean, her path to victory will not be on the ground. It will not be submissions, because that's the last thing you want to do with this Maria Bueno Silva. And I've won a fair bit of money from her with her submissions. But here's the thing. Raquel Pennington is a really good boxer. Maria Bueno Silva is very powerful. She's very powerful. She can KO you. She's super durable. Like, I don't think anyone's been able to back her up. She just keeps marching forward, taking shots, waiting to land her shots. She hasn't had very good takedowns. But I think she's working on that, because before, I remember a couple fights ago, she's never taken anybody down, but she was winning by submission. They would take her down, then she would submit them. So, but now, I think there was a couple fights ago, she started taking people down where she tried and she succeeded. So she's getting better at it, but she's still not great at takedowns. So here's how I see this fight going on. I think Maria Bueno Silva is going to be the more powerful woman. She's very strong, very durable. She's like a bull, but she's slow. She's much slower than Raquel Pennington. She's going to move forward, try to land. Raquel Pennington can be on the outside landing on her, and she's going to outland her. In the clinch, Raquel Pennington's going to be just as strong as long as she doesn't get taken down or give her neck up for a submission, because Bueno Silva is an excellent submission artist. She is very good. Once she gets a hold of something, she is very good, and she's a finisher. Raquel Pennington, I think she can fight her off against the fence as long as she doesn't give her like a neck or something like that. I think it's going to be a grind up against the fence. Pennington might even be the stronger fighter against the fence. Definitely, that's not a place that she's out of water, and kind of, she's strong, she's smart, she's been there before. I think grinding up against the fence might be an advantage for Pennington, or it's going to be very close. Bueno Silva's going to have definitely a submission threat for Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington should not be on the ground, should not be taken to the ground, and she's got to be careful with her neck when they're up against the fence, grinding each other out and reversing themselves and everything else. Pennington's got the more experience. I think she's going to be able to pull this off. I think she's going to be able to outland Bueno Silva. Bueno Silva is very low output. You can outland this girl. And if she doesn't knock you out, submit you, lots of times she's losing decisions. Raquel Pennington is very smart, a lot of experience. She's a good boxer. She could box at range. I think she's going to, not piece up, but she's going to outland Bueno Silva in these rounds, and she's going to win these rounds one by one and win this decision. That's what I'm seeing. Even though Raquel Pennington is the underdog, I think Bueno Silva is a more dangerous fighter. But if Raquel Pennington does not get submitted, I don't think she's going to get knocked out. It's a submission victory that I see for Bueno Silva if she pulls this off. So as long as she's safe and doesn't give up anything like her neck, I think she's going to win this decision, because she's a smart fighter. She counts her punches. She knows when to strike. She's always seems like she's on top of where the punch stats are. So you hit her, she's hitting you. You hit her, she's hitting you once or twice longer. It's almost like the Neil Magny. She's very aware of where she is in the fight, and she can win these decisions. I think Bueno Silva is definitely the more dangerous fighter. I think she's slower. I think Raquel Pennington is going to win this belt. I don't think she's going to hold on to it very long, but I think she's going to be able to pull this off in a close decision. So Raquel Pennington is the underdog. I'm picking her to win. So let's go to the main event. What are we doing for time? We're good. Trying to get this to an hour, or trying to keep it under an hour. We're good. Now, the main event. Sean Strickland versus Strickland DuPlessis. Sean Strickland, 6'1", 76-inch reach, 28 wins, 5 losses, 32 years old. Strickland DuPlessis, 6'1", 76-inch reach, 20 wins, 2 losses, 29 years old. Both of them at their peak, they're the same size. I've mentioned it over and over again. Sean Strickland screwed up my parlay, my 12-fight parlay, when he beat Adesanya. And I was going to pick both of them, but I just didn't see Strickland winning. So I went through 11 fights on my parlay. Win. And then when I went to the final, I'm like, oh man, okay, Adesanya's going to beat Strickland. I've won this. It's going to be the 12-fight parlay. It's a big payout. And then Strickland beats Adesanya. Knocks him down in the first round. Dominates all the other rounds. Beats the crap out of him. So I didn't like that. So maybe I'm looking for a reason to fade this guy. But no. And I always said that I don't think Adesanya looked very good. And he didn't look like I don't think he took Strickland seriously. I don't think he trained properly. But I also think Strickland got in this guy's head. Because something looked off about Adesanya. But I also saw the same look when Dricus DuPlessis was facing off with Adesanya. Something looked off with Adesanya. I don't know if I don't know. He looked scared from DuPlessis and he looked unconfident with Strickland. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it was some more of a mental situation because you've seen this guy fight the best, right? Guys who are really good. So going on to this evaluation, I actually made some notes. I never make notes. I always like, okay, well, just go off what I know, and it's all these in here. But I started writing some stuff down. So Sean Strickland's the favorite. DuPlessis is the underdog. What do I got? Strickland carries his hands low, well to his chest. You know, and one thing about Strickland, Strickland for this fight will be the same Strickland. Dricus DuPlessis from fight to fight has changed his style and adapted and gotten better at things. There's going to be that variable. The variable is going to be from DuPlessis, not from Strickland. So he carries his hands low, carries his to his chest. He's got that style where he's going to be octopusing, parrying your punches and parrying your kicks, and he's very effective with it. Eh? He comes in at the same pace. He's nonstop, right? From there, he raises his hands in front of him. He reaches out. He parries punches, and it's hard to land on this guy because he's like, parrying your punches. It gets frustrating. He keeps throwing. It's it's like throwing your punches into like almost like quicksand, because by the time they actually hit him, if they hit him, they've got to go through his hands and they slow down, and then all of a sudden you don't have that crisp punch. You just kind of got this, pushing action where he doesn't get hurt. He doesn't get hit hard because he basically slows down the punch just enough where he's not going to get hurt. But you keep throwing and you get tired. So, and from there he drops his hands. That's why he has him here. He drops his hands, and the front kicks are very difficult too. Granted, if you kept throwing front kicks, and I always thought that Adesanya would have been good at this because of his length, that eventually you're going to hit him in the stomach, or if not, you're going to maybe, hit him in the fingers, break his fingers or something, because you're going to be push kicking him. But it seems like he's parrying those really well. So to hit him in the stomach, I have seen guys actually do it, but then he starts having his hands low. And I guess if you wanted to fight that fight, keep jabbing him with the front kick to the stomach and then coming up on top. But it seems like guys get so frustrated that they almost get freaked out that he's parrying their punches and parrying their front kicks, that they're just drop their plan. Like they just don't keep doing it. And before you know it, he's still walking forward and you've stopped doing anything. He's just walking forward and then you're just reacting and running backwards. It's working great for him, right? But that's the thing is, so let's say he's parrying his punches. You can't punch him. So what's the first thing you got to do? Well, you can't punch straight because his hands are here. And this is why Pereira knocked him out. Well, you got to punch with hooks. You got to punch around because his hands are out here. They're not here. They're not here. They're out here. He's trying to parry your punches. So you're going to throw, just punch around his hands. So and you got to be consistent at it. And that's how Pereira knocked him out. He can get knocked out. He has been knocked out before. DuPlessis, very powerful. If anybody's going to knock you out, this is the guy. He's got a lot of power. So he walks forward and he waits for you to throw. And if you don't throw, he's going to start throwing. But meanwhile, he's going to walk. He's going to parry, stop the front kick, parry down, parry low. He's got his hands here. And then when you stop throwing, when he sees you stop throwing, that's when he starts to throw. So his defense is done. Okay, now you're tired or you're thinking about it, and then he's going to not even give you a chance to think about it. He's going to start throwing himself. And then you're busy defending. So that's why the first round he always doesn't do that well, because he's basically just tiring you out, frustrating you with the parrying. Dricus DuPlessis. He's a very smart fighter. His coaches develop really good game plans. So that's why I think that from that last fight to this fight, if you're going to see any improvement, it's going to be on this side. Lead hooks easily land. He can lead hook, land, circle away. And what does Dreyfus do? If you ever see him in his fights, he circles. He's continually circling. So he's just going to land his hooks and circle away. Land his hooks and circle away. Dreyfus DuPlessis, already, that's how he throws. He doesn't throw straight. Well, sometimes he runs and kind of throws punches like that. But he's a big guy, and he throws pretty strong hooks, really powerful hooks. And he circles away, and he circles nonstop. Even though he looks tired, he actually managed to push through that, and he always seems to be moving. So lead hooks can land easily and circle away. Kicks to the body and head, not from front kicks, but side kicks. And I saw last time when Izzy was fighting him, he landed a few really good kicks. And I think he I don't know who hurt who, but he kept letting it in. And all of a sudden you had Strickland, dropping his elbow, trying to stop the kicks. And I thought those kicks were being very effective. And if you keep landing to the body, not straight ahead, but from the side, those kicks from the side, then you can go from the body to the head, kind of like Makachev did with Volkanovski. He kept landing a really hard body kick, and the moment Arlovski had his hands too low, he went up high, hit him in the head. So there is ways to beat Strickland. You just gotta not get frustrated and not throw the punches that he's ready to defend, which is front punches, straight kicks. Can he do this? I mean, he's a smart fighter. He's got a good camp. Kicks to the body from the side. Hooks, circling off. Not giving a chance Strickland to return. There is definitely a path to victory, and this guy does have the ability to do it. Keep circling away, stop and land. Don't stand in front of Strickland. Strickland will have his hands ready to parry. Then don't be there when he returns. Cardio will be the deciding factor I got here. So, and here's the thing is, Strickland's got great cardio, but Strickland's never pushed. No one ever tries to grapple him or puts him in a position where he even gets tired. He fights at the same pace, but everyone's allowing him to fight at the same pace because he's dictating the whole fight. I think that the first 3 rounds, I think DuPlessis can win the first 3 rounds. I think 4 and 5, he should be able to hopefully, maybe try for some takedowns and clinching them up against the fence and not giving a chance for Strickland to really get back those rounds. So first 3 rounds, hooks, kicks, not straight kicks, not straight punches, punches from the sides, hooks from the sides, same with kicks. Kicks to the body, not straight front kicks, and circling away, I think. And this guy, DuPlessis, has got a lot of power. One thing I've seen is he's awkward, and when he throws his punches, they don't look great, but they land and they hurt people. So he's got a lot of power, and this guy's a very strong guy. Even if you see him with the takedowns, he just got so much power. He'll grab you, grab a limb and push you over, lift you up, and he throws people to the ground. This guy's very strong. Strickland's strong too, but this guy's very powerful. So I think he's going to have the power. He just has to have the right game plan, and I think he's got enough power. He should have enough cardio to beat Strickland. That's what I'm going with. Seems like a lot of people are picking Strickland. I don't think Strickland is going to be a long time winner, and I don't want to be biased because of what he did last time, but I don't think I am. But the key part to this whole thing is this: DuPlessis has mentally already beaten Strickland. Strickland seems to be in everyone's head, and when he fought Izzy, he already had won and beaten Izzy. You could see it during the face-offs. He already beat Izzy. DuPlessis has already mentally beaten Strickland. Strickland's mad at him. I know they were throwing insults. DuPlessis had said something about his dad, and it didn't look good mentally for Strickland. And I think he's going to go into this fight, and I don't think he's going to be mentally as strong as he was in all the other fights. He's not going to be able to break this guy, and I think he's already hurt mentally. Take it for what it's worth. I think that Strickland has already lost his fight before he's walked into this ring. But now, DuPlessis just has to fight a good game plan, and he can win this. Because I don't think Strickland's the same guy right now. Yeah, so let's go over the board. Pick is going to be DuPlessis. Not high degree of confidence. All right. Let's do this. You see that? Yeah. All right. Most to least confident on this board. First off, this is not financial advice. Bet only what you can afford to lose. Look at my picks from most to least confident. Maybe do your own research, see what you agree with. Either create a parlay or bet on individual fights or a combination of fights. That's what I do. And then I do some prop betting, which I really don't go over that much yet. But at some point, like I always say, I will be doing some of it. So saying that, Mike Malot's going to be the highest degree of confidence. He's the Canadian prospect. I think everything is being set up for this guy to win. It's going to be in Canada. It's going to be a good fight. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to finish Magny, and that's going to be great for his career. Moving on, Jourdain. Again, very exciting fighter. It's going to be in front of the Canadian crowd. I think they've given him an opponent that's really tricky, long, and lanky, and tough to fight. But I don't think he's going to be as strong as Jourdain. I think Jourdain's going to win this. Woodson's definitely got to keep it on the feet. I think Jourdain can win it on the feet and on the ground, especially if it goes on the ground. Yeah, it's, you know, Woodson's done. Jourdain's second most confident pick. Katona, I think he's fought the much higher level competitions. Very tough, very durable. Is his time to shine? You know, we haven't seen that much from the other guy. So yeah, Katona's going to be the pick on this one. Gordon's not great, and he's a high degree of confidence here. And normally he wouldn't. It was like my last story. It's not that I really have a high degree of confidence on Gordon, but looking at who he's fighting, Flick, that gives me a high degree of confidence. I think Gordon's going to win this. Jasudavicius, high degree of confidence. I think they've given her an opponent that has no ground game, and she has traditionally been the kind of person to try to take you down and just grind on top of you. That's totally in her wheelhouse. They've given her the right opponent. She should win this. Lannis, he's got a lot of power. He's matched up against a really tall, lanky, somewhat frail fighter who's moving up in weight. He's going to run into this guy who's just a beast. Apart from it going into the second and third round where we're going to start to sweat it, Lannis should knock this guy out. Medium confidence. City, he's already fought Ramos, or what's his name is, where was that guy? Yeah. How to lose that piece of paper? Oh, there it is. What's his name again? Tavares. You know, I wanted to pick Tavares, but yeah, I think City's got his number. I think City's going to be able to do what he did last time. I don't see any, well, he might, except for the fight that might not get stopped. He might just grind out a 3-rounder or just, you know, ground and pound him. I think City's going to win this. He seems pretty solid. Seems like he can take a shot. I don't think Tavares is going to knock him out. I mean, last fight, Tavares did hit him straight on. So mid-level confidence, it should end up the way it is. Curtis, these are the odds I got today. So they have gone up from a while ago. All these were much lower a few days ago. Curtis, I think he's a more talented boxer. I think Barriol is very strong, very durable, great cardio, but I think this guy's much more talented in boxing. That's where it's going to end up. He's not going to get taken down. The kicking game of Barriol is not sensational. The counter-striking at Curtis is excellent. I think he's going to be able to knock out Barriol. Mid-range confidence. My underdog play, Pennington. I think this is her time. She waited this long to be champ. I think she's going to be champ. She might not be a long reigning champ, but Bueno Silva doesn't look like a really dynamic striker. So I think Pennington's going to win it on the feet. He's going to outpoint her. 5 rounds. Evloev, I mean, this guy people have been avoiding to fight this guy for a while. This is his time to shine. I don't think he's going to let himself down. He's a really strong wrestler. He's going to keep coming after Allen. I think Allen's good. I just don't think he's going to be able to beat this guy that day. I think this guy has got the goods. He's a pretty decent striker as well. And he's going to be chain wrestling this guy all through the 3 rounds. DuPlessis, my underdog play, again, I think he's in Strickland's head. That's the key. I think he's in Strickland's head. Strickland's not confident. Strickland's angry. And this guy just has to come in with a good game plan. And we already know he's strong. He's powerful. He had that nose problem where he had that surgery because of all everyone says he was gassing. Now he says that's much better because now he can actually breathe. If that's the case, this guy should be able to win and become the new middleweight champ. And I don't know. I don't see it. I don't want to say I don't see it any other way, but that's exactly what happened when Strickland beat Adesanya and ruled my 12 fight parlay. But nevertheless, I think DuPlessis is going to be able to do this. Robertson, again, I actually got her at the bottom here because, she's a huge favorite. But, man, Polyana Viana, she's a really good striker. She's a terrible striker. That's what worries me. That interaction on the feet by the time it gets on the ground. And because Robertson has to take it to the ground, Viana does have these crazy submissions. She's good at BJJ, and there could be an opportunity where she catches Robertson. Granted, I still think Robertson can stay out of those, but Viana is known for those as well. So she is good on the feet, and she can pull up a submission off her back. So there's those 2 points, and anything in between that, Robertson's got the advantage. As long as something crazy doesn't happen on the feet or crazy off Viana's back, Robertson's going to win this decision. But because of those variables, I've got it on a low degree of confidence. All right. Well, that's it. I don't know. I feel pretty good about this card. I don't know why. So let's see what happens. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and it'll give you notifications when I put up my content. Trying to get it out more regular. Hit like if you like the content, please, because it definitely helps with the algorithm. Also, if you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to ask. I respond to everybody. Thank you very much for the support, and good luck everybody this Saturday, and we'll see you on the recap next week.